You're with Julian on the Brown Note and a review of Kim Gordon's album, The Collective. Kim Gordon, happy birthday, happy 71st birthday. It is trite to say that people don't look or feel or sound their age, but on this record, she could easily be a 25-year-old upcoming artist. It's quite baffling. So Kim Gordon, one of the founding members of Sonic Youth, one of the cornerstones of American alternative music. She was indeed married to Thurston Moore, who was the other probably co-leader of Sonic Youth, and when they divorced around 2013, the band split, and that was the end so far of Sonic Youth. Thurston Moore had embarked on releasing solo music. I've lost track of what he's done, but his first solo album I thought was fantastic. And Kim Gordon released No Home Record, I think it was called, which was fantastic. Scouring, avant-garde, interesting, hard and brilliant, and was in my albums of the year. And to be honest, her second solo album proper since the dissolution of Sonic Youth is exactly the same. I'll say this though, the soundscapes on offer here present some of the most interesting and innovative and avant-garde hip-hop production I've ever heard. I would love Danny Brown to rap over this album instrumentals. There's such interest, like on Atrocity Exhibition, that Danny Brown album. You could almost remake it with all of these beats and sound stages. The track One Bye Bye is immediately heavy, avant-garde and hip-hop-ish. And it's got this sort of death disco vibe, which is heightened by the way that Kim Gordon delivers her almost spoken word vocal delivery, which is an iconic delivery, and the scrub fed back guitars that appear all across the album, and abstracted lyrics, which are often just a list of things on this track in a bathroom. The Candy House, which is I think a novel that the whole album was influenced or inspired by, more nightmarishly glitchy, almost like Clips era Neptune's production beats, and more lyrical impressionistic fragments. I Don't Miss My Mind, the thundering sub bass, which is another great facet of this album, and sort of like this almost desperately picking at your own scars, paranoid, junky delivery that Kim does a lot on this. And it's also got some like industrial noise scapes on it. And I thought the lyrics on the album became more and more compelling as it went. Don't Fuck It Up was the one on here. And it's like I'm a Man is probably arguably the centerpiece on the album. And also lyrically the one that's hardest to get a clean line on. It's even more pulverizing than the previous track. Just because I like a big truck, put in on a shirt, it's not my fault. Now, it's a really complex song. It sounds on the surface like it's just about toxic masculinity. But it would have troubled me if it were, because there are elements to the lyrics which are, I dropped out of college, I didn't get a degree. And I think as a definer of being a toxic man, that would worry me, because it's kind of, it's a privileged position for a lot of people to be able to go to college. It's got nothing to do with being a toxic man, and toxic college bros are certainly in the abundance. So I did find that, I was like, I wonder if you're actually going to go down the road of saying, a kid that doesn't go to college and get a degree is a toxic man. But it doesn't. It feels like a reportage on the whole issue. It feels like there's just like fragments of the internet chat about toxic masculinity appearing in the song. And it's almost like a sound collage of it. It's a very interesting track that I couldn't get 100% of a line on. And that's a good thing at times. The sub bass just keeps going on Trophies. It's almost like DJ Rashad footwork era stuff, and probably the most Sonic Youth guitaring on the album as well. There's a nice flow to this album. I felt the gradual momentum through the sludge. It's dark inside. Some of the more interesting lyrics, Can I Love You With My Eyes Open? Really scarbrous guitars, almost blast beats this time. The Psychedelic Orgasm may even be the strongest track. It's got some interesting sonic elements that don't appear on the other tracks, like the auto-tuned vocals in the background as a motif, and the warmer synths that appear, getting caffeinated. The lyrics again seem to refer to the people going to markets and spending a lot of money on coffee and $20 potatoes, which, she throws out these fragments that seem to create vignettes of parts of her life. A Treehouse has great guitars on it, and then there's sort of a little bit of a breather with Shelf Warmer, which is a little bit more minimalist in the production and drops down to just being beats at times. Pet Me on the Inside, and the last track proper, before Dream Dollar, The Believers, really does crank up how abrasive all of this is, and try and end on a really intense moment in an album that barely dials back on intensity before it sort of goes off into Dream Dollar as almost a de facto come down track. So this is a fabulous album, every bit as good as the last one, and the sonic stage and production sound stage of this avant-garde hip-hop is magnificent, and it could be easily sampled for some very interesting Danny Brown music. So I'm going to give I didn't write the title down. The Collective by Kim Gordon, her second proper solo album, a 9 out of 10, definitely will be in my albums of the year.